Awesome. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Central London University Esports Industry Talk Series. My name is Cedric, if you don't know already, and I am the outgoing president of LSE's Gaming Society. And today I am very fortunate to be joined by Jeffrey Hoang, who is the team manager of FlyQuest. I'm currently competing in the North American League Championship Series. I say we're fortunate because Jeffrey has been in our shoes, if you're a university student, as a college student working on grassroots esports initiatives to grow the community. And having talked to him a bit about his experiences, I felt they were quite reflective of what we're doing at Clue. And moreover, he managed to leverage that experience and turn it into his job, which is frankly a dream opportunity. Today we're going to be covering a few topics such as Jeffrey's journey into esports and FlyQuest, talking a bit about the brand itself and what he does there, and also talking a bit about how to best prepare oneself to work in the industry. If Jeffrey wants to do a little introduction, that'd be really awesome.
Cool. That was an awesome introduction. I don't think much more needs to be said. I will say that I do want to reiterate that coming from collegiate esports has been outstanding and such a huge help transitioning into my career, which I'll talk about later on in this panel. But I'm really excited to be here today. Really excited to see all of you in chat, hear your questions, hear anything that you want to know about my journey, and looking forward to talking about my experience.
Yeah, awesome. So, we can start a bit off just talking a bit about your background, maybe your education, interests, hobbies, why you got into League of Legends, perhaps.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can move on from there.
Cool. So in terms of my education, I studied a wide variety of things in university. I had a little bit of trouble figuring out what I wanted to do. Started off as mechanical engineering. Then I eventually switched over to pharmacological chemistry. Found out that I wasn't really good at it. And so I eventually did after some soul searching, and with some help of my awesome university advisors, settled on studying cognitive science, specializing in human-computer interaction. And it was an awesome time. I learned a lot of different things, and would recommend it to a lot of people who want something that's similar to computer science, but more focused on, the physiology of the human brain. In terms of interests, I love volleyball. Love team-based environments, so sports is a natural. And I've been playing video games for a really long while. Back in when my parents were first trying to figure out how to set up internet, and I was 8 years old. I was like, "Don't worry, mom and dad, I really want to play games. I'll help you set up the internet." And it was back when it was dial-up, so. Yeah. Okay, this cord goes here. I think this cord goes here. This looks good. Let me log in. Do you have the password to the internet and stuff like that? And eventually worked out. And so online gaming kind of became my stomping grounds. Played Dota for a good long while. I think like 4 or 5 years, or maybe it was like 3 or 4. I don't exactly remember. But then I played all the spin-offs of it: Heroes of Newerth, eventually League of Legends, couple other battle arenas, but I've been playing League specifically for 11 years now, ever since closed beta. And so really invested in the game, really love the game. And it's just been an awesome time and lots of awesome people in the community as well. And then some other interests that I have right now are I cosplayed a lot back in 2010, throughout 2015. Really awesome community there. And then right now, the new community that I've found that's really awesome is virtual reality.
Yeah, for sure. I actually managed to talk to Jeffrey a bit about VR, and if you guys have any questions, I'm sure he'll be able to talk continuously, potentially hours on end, just a bit about VR. We talked a bit about like haptic feedback and everything, but obviously that's not going to be the topic of today's talk. But if you do want to reach out to him, all of the Twitter stuff and everything is below, and also there are some commands I forgot to mention in the title of the Twitch stream that you guys can check out his profile as well as FlyQuest's profile. But I totally relate. Personally, I also started with Dota, but it was Dota 2. And I think league already came out at that point, but it was much
Yeah.
smaller. And people, I think one of my friends in Australia tried to convince me to play it, and I was like, "What is this subpar game that was released?" And eventually just kind of got hooked. I guess it was just easier. Yeah. So that was like, yeah, very similar experience. But for me, no, I wasn't never on dial up. The farthest back I think I could remember was ADSL in Australia, which was just copper wire compared to the fiber that we have nowadays. But yeah, ever going back home, like the Wi-Fi like so much slower, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's very fortunate to be able to play. But it's really awesome. And I guess that kind of transitions really easily into, talking a bit about the grassroots initiatives that we discussed a bit beforehand, but also like how you developed that, just to let everyone know. Jeffrey was part of like, I'd say like a pretty big club that he developed called Triton Gaming during his collegiate career. And maybe talking a bit through that and seeing how that reflects with our own experiences would be a good start as well.
Yeah, I would love to. So back in 2012, I got accepted into UCSD. I was, studying pharmacological chemistry as my first real experience with a university campus, because I came from junior college, which is a really awesome route, saved me a lot of money, let me really figure out what I wanted to do. What I thought I wanted to do. But it gave me a lot of time to get my feet ready for university. And I found that throughout that time, while I was doing miscellaneous other hobbies like cosplay, video games, esports, stuff like that, that I really loved gaming. That's where my true passion was. And so instantly when I hit the campus, I looked for a League of Legends club, a StarCraft club, or whatever gaming club they had. And I went to their first general body meeting, and it was in this room that could fit maybe like 30 people,
Right.
And it was just 20 people just sitting around, ready to like talk and mingle. We brought our laptops and everything.
Yeah.
It was a really awesome experience, and I kept going to these events and meeting these other people who were just as passionate as me, meeting a lot of lifetime friends. And after our first year finished, one of our most driven individuals came up to us and said, "Hey, the seven of us, let's form a new club. Let's Triton Gaming, because right now we are a small club and there's a ton of other small clubs on campus. We want to create an umbrella organization that will bring together all the gaming clubs, so that one, we can get more funding from the university with our club member count, and two, to use these resources to elevate every single club on campus together as a whole, to support each other's events, to help staff each other's events, and to just meet other really awesome people." The person who was the president of Triton Gaming was Kevin. I headed our Kevin He. I think I forgot where he works now, but he did a really awesome job at TESPA, influenced a lot of people, and was an awesome leadership person overall. And for me, I headed all of our competitive operations. So getting our league team started, getting our practice, getting our schedules, and getting us into different tournaments to represent the University of California, San Diego, in tournaments where, it fielded teams nationwide. Collegiate Star League was a really awesome place. And I think that was maybe just a tiny bit of what was really awesome about Triton Gaming. Since we were so small, and since collegiate esports wasn't so supported back then, it was met with a little bit of not disgust, but like a similar word where the administration was kind of like, we're gonna let you guys do your own thing, and we're gonna stand off on the side and watch you guys. Here's a bit of funding, and you'll do what you want with it.
Yeah.
But for us, we wanted to go bigger and better every single year, every single event. We wanted to keep building and building and building. And so to talk about the success of it, we went from like 30 members per event to like 100 in the first year. And our first big event had over 800 people come out across 2 or 3 days. And that was in partnership with another organization on campus. It was called Winter Game Fest. It's really awesome. Highly suggest you guys go out to it if anyone is from the San Diego area here that's listening, or just the SoCal area. And then Cedric, if you have any tournaments that are similar to where
yeah, for sure,
game and tournament all weekend long. I'm not sure if you guys have any of that set up, but it's a really awesome experience. But that was kind of what we did. And then to kick it off even further, we started working with UCLA, UCI, SDSU to throw events outside of our college campus, because we were just, okay, we really established a really firm community here on campus at UCSD. Now we want to bring all the campuses together, where all these club leaders are also like gung-ho about just making collegiate esports a thing, and just throwing events out there for general esports fans. Midnight Finals in 2014, 2015, I don't remember, was really successful. UCI, I believe, was one of the main organizers for that. But everyone across Southern California universities just contributed to the effort. And it was a warehouse that we rented out. Wow. We had a bunch of celebrities that came out. I believe, I can't remember exactly who came, but there's a lot of like league pros who didn't Worlds. They came out, a bunch of giveaways supported by Riot, sponsored by Riot. We had additional sponsors from like Newegg and I think like MSI HyperX were also sponsors. And they really helped us like elevate ourselves, and they saw the potential of collegiate esports. But that event had 2,000 people coming out to it. It was entirely student led. It was super awesome. Just a warehouse, people in a warehouse for 20 hours or something like that overnight, just watching League of Legends on a giant big screen. That's kind of like where we found our passion and why we kept wanting to do things, not only because we wanted to build up our own individual skills, but because it was just really awesome to be in events like that. And yeah, so I think that's mainly I guess that
career for esports.
And there's a lot of other stuff that we did. But basically, I really cherish the memory because the people that I met along the way, I'm a firm believer in surrounding yourself with others that will help you elevate yourself, be it inspire you to do better and to do bigger and better things and to continue to improve yourself, or to drive you into a gear where you can be in that leadership position and inspire others to help band people together and coordinate them to keep doing these awesome things. And these awesome things are often not necessarily streamlined for esports. And so it comes with a lot of effort and a lot of self-teaching. But a lot of us that were here in collegiate esports were able to kind of talk to industry leaders from Riot and Blizzard and other game companies to get some guidance and to also get help and support. I feel like in general, the collegiate gaming community has been really supportive of each other and will continue to be. So I have a lot of hope for the collegiate gaming community.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we just got an amen in chat from Perks, talking about, I assume referencing surrounding yourself with those good people or inspiring people. And I have to say, I'm pretty jealous. I guess some factors do limit us in the UK. When you talked about that similar word to disgust, I guess in some sense that's still happening. It's still developing, but we're making our way there. And hopefully the people and the future people that come after me, not just within LSE Gaming, but within Clue and also within the National University Esports or National Student Esports Associations and so on, that kind of continues to grow. I guess in some places it is making good headway, where esports actually falls under the athletics union, so counted as a sport within the university. which is very exciting for us. But then again, the London warehouse situation, or the dream, unlikely to happen. Space is a premium here, guys. But I mean, if we have managed to do some things before, if you guys have heard about it, such as the Landon that we've had previously, or watch parties at Red Bull Arena, which it's like making its way. Not the thousands that you've mentioned, but a couple hundred, which has been pretty nice.
Yeah, it's still awesome.
Yeah, it's still something, exactly, and hopefully that will just continue to grow. With those passionate people that you mentioned. I guess I want to transition from that though. You talked about all of this great experience you managed in esports. How did you just turn that into the job? Like, how did you get into FlyQuest before university ended, or college, I guess?
So getting into FlyQuest, I came straight from college. Didn't really have a office position, like a formal sit down 9 to 5 job. I tutored a bit in college. I worked at a beach and tennis club as speech services, which really helped out with my physical health and wellness. But basically, I had a friend come up and say, "Hey, there's this opening here at FlyQuest. We're looking for a team manager. You should apply." And so they gave me my initial interview, and they said, "You are a great culture fit. I think your personality is great for what we want, but we're looking for someone with more experience for our inaugural year in the LCS. And what we're going to do is we're going to contract you for 4 to 5 weeks while we continue our interview process." And I was personally really grateful. I treated that not as I'm not good enough for them. Oh, sorry, one of my lights just turned off.
Sorry.
I guess I have battery. But I treated that not as this guy's not good enough or he doesn't have enough experience, but rather, oh, great, I just landed myself a pretty much internship position for an LCS team. This is amazing. And so I was really grateful for it. And what I did was I hit the ground running. As soon as I got there, team manager position, when you start an LCS team, it's set up everything needed for your facility. For us, it was a team house. We had our peripherals coming in. We had our chairs coming in. We had tables. We had computers. Get it all built. Basically, like one-man job, gung-ho, just like box cutting everything, like hack and slash, like I'm in an ML or something,
Yeah.
And then putting like all the trash in my car, driving it to a recycling place, and then manually putting in stuff. And I ended up getting a lot more done than what the person who was actively managing me thought I could do. And he's like, "Oh, wow, okay. Well, why don't you get started on this then?" And so as I kept doing that, and as I kept bringing up things that I thought would be good, or to just like get them on the ground started, like our social media, our community channels and stuff like that. As I created those, I believe, I think we made it in our first week or first 2 week before scrims. I think by week 3, 3 of 5 of my initial contract agreement, I got sat down, and he was my active manager, hiring manager, just basically said, "You know what, you're really awesome. We think you're a great fit, despite the lack of experience that we initially wanted for a team manager position. We have a lot of veterans here who can help you out with that. You're a great cultural fit. You have the drive, you have the ambition, you have the work ethic to really excel at this job. So here's a full-time position. Would you like to take it?" Like, hell yeah. And it's been a wild ride. And well, I'm still on the ride, but it's been an amazing time here at FlyQuest. I've met a lot of awesome people throughout this job that have been pivotal to basically my own development. I think that the one thing that can really hinder someone from really excelling is a bad manager. And I don't think that I really had a bad manager here at FlyQuest. They're always really vocal about what I needed to improve in, what my weaknesses were, and how to improve those weaknesses. And then they also, on the flip side, told me what my strengths were and how to properly utilize them, so that I wasn't just spec'd all in on strength or agility or something like that. So they really, I think my time here at FlyQuest, just meeting all these awesome people who are around my age even, who have had experience in blue collar 9-to-5 jobs, or just regular maybe contract jobs and content gigs and stuff like that. They all have experience and they all contribute together into this whole pool of like just elevating each other. And so really grateful for all the managers here at FlyQuest.
Yeah, shout out to the managers, right?
Yeah, good managers.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. I think anyone would look at that opportunity, that first initial 4 to 5 week contract. I mean, as long as you're a passionate gamer, I'm sure people in watching would agree, or watching further down the line would agree. Like that opportunity, a lot of people would, be wide-eyed, and take it and try to make the best of it. And it sounds like as if you had obviously to convert it into a full-time offer. I want to ask as well, I think we talked a bit about on how you manage teams, and you talked a bit about how you manage competition while you were in UCSD's gaming society. How big of a difference, or how big of a jump, or is it similar when transitioning from that experience, in a collegiate setting to the LCS? It must be much more formalized in some sense, perhaps, or a lot more competition, a lot more things to worry about. Like, what was that difference in experience like?
Yeah, so I guess first to speak off the collegiate team management side of things. A lot less money.
Sorry.
Yeah, less money. And back then you had way less investment, right? Because everyone's worried about their careers, about their future. And then collegiate esports is not really a route that you could take in order to get a professional career. And then on top of that, if you want to take your team out to dinner, everyone's paying for themselves. Unless the club had a fundraiser and we have extra, we can't get team dinner unless we did something awesome, like we got first place in a tournament. But it was a lot of, just finding these tournaments to compete as 5 in, because we had that. If you think of it, you can basically think of it as like a clash team. We had a clash team before the other people had clash teams. They maybe like banded 5 people together and then said, okay, let's play in this tournament, versus us who constantly practice with each other. And we had that head start. And so when we want to enter tournaments, we already have that communication and work established. Now, if we weren't booking enough tournaments and we weren't competing in any high level tournaments, it's really hard to get people to practice 3 to 4 days a week. And even then it'd be like 1 to 2 games versus the regular 5-game scrim block that's now standard in LCS. And so because of that, because we were only scrimming, before I should get into that, another difference is the amount of motivation can differ from individuals. It's important to weed out in the beginning of the application process. Are you playing for, are you actually weighing the prestige of representing the University of California, San Diego, as high as, your academic success? And are you able to, devote yourself to that? You can't really have a social life and have practice and have schoolwork all at the same time. You got to sacrifice something. So the people who did end up playing did a lot of self-sacrifice, in the sense that they gave up the opportunity to go out with friends and party, or to go out drinking at night randomly, or to meet a girl, right? And we all know college students are always looking for the love of their life.
Totally.
And so that's kind of like another difference, in the sense that in LCS you don't have that. You have people in academy practicing every single day grinding solo queue, and that's the only thing that they have to do. People on LCS, same thing, right? We don't see our families during the regular season. We don't fly back home, especially now with the pandemic. It's too hard to fly, and it's unsafe. But basically, the motivation, it's a lot easier to say, hey, I need you to practice here because we have like a week off before our playoffs run with an LCS team or an academy team, and push them to, play more solo queue or whatever, versus if finals are coming up, then then as a collegiate manager, you have to say, I should less scrims here because midterms or whatnot. I think the way that you can go about meeting people and kind of providing resources for collegiate teams is a lot less established as well. The LCS teams, they scrim each other, and some amateur teams as of this year with the Proving Grounds run. I think there's been a lot of orgs that have really stepped up. And we've scrimmed a couple of them with our academy team. But the big thing is for collegiate esports, it's really hard to book scrims with outside of your immediate area. One of the things that I did when I was team manager to provide a solution is I made a Facebook group. And Riot had this resource. It was like a club finder. And I just basically went everywhere on that map. Messaged them on Facebook, said, hey, I'm making this Facebook group. It's called League of Legends Collegiate Scrimming. I just want the ability for people to find scrims without needing to resort to like forums or Reddit or whatnot where responses aren't generally seen. Everybody or most people in college have a Facebook account. And so inviting them when they're using free for sale or whatnot to buy books and stuff. Already going to see the notification local to a tool that they already use. And so that tool ended up having I forgot what number it went up to, but the first year that I made it was like 100 people, and then after that I grew up to like 1,000. I think it's still used today, but not really. I kind of discontinued the use for it, and I left it up to everyone there to kind of use it if they needed. But people are actively just continuing to add each other to that Facebook group. And it's like, hey, gold 3 average team looking to scrum another team. You'll see down in the thread, oh, hey, we can do it. This is our time zone. Let's play here, or so-and-so. Here's my in-game name. And it was really awesome just seeing everyone across the nation just trying to find and book scrims with each other.
Yeah, for sure. I think for us now, it seems a bit easier, especially with the rise of Discord and huge servers that have just come up for us, like National University Esports League. They have dedicated scrim channels for each game, and so finding that has been easier. But seeing that type of innovation and that first mover wave that you kind of talked about and you also championed is really, really interesting to see. Neil talking about sorry, Chad was just mentioning that, but it's just so true. And I guess the formalization of the league, so true in the sense that the formalization of the league does distill I guess more of a sense of discipline, especially regarding players. Obviously in college you're balancing so much, but then moving into LCS, I mean, it's your job now, right? And you're an athlete and you have to dedicate your time to that. So I guess understanding that level of dedication, how much of a step above it is compared to college, kind of makes a lot of sense. I do see something says Lester Perks lady from Lester Perks. Sorry, I'm messing up I can't even speak English right now. But Perks mentioned that all those single people might need her dating service. So definitely looking to sign up on Twitter if you follow. But I don't know. Yeah, sacrificing social life does seem to be yes, a big case in I guess a lot, because I don't know, there's a stereotype, I don't know if you associate with it, but the gamers also tend to be okay at studying, or naturally smart at studying, so they do tend to prioritize that. But I don't know, I've seen many cases where the academics does go down the drain. And they tend to focus more on the gaming. I mean, it's when you allocate. So
I can dedicate 3 days of solo queue and then I'll get to it, right? I need to hit masters, or I need to hit grandmasters before.
Yeah, I have a very specific example in mind actually, from our society who always says, I'm gonna stop solo queue because exams are coming up, but it doesn't happen. You just see the match history; it still goes on. But yeah, yeah.
I mean,
it happens so often. And I just wanted to add, the funny thing is, like, how you do the choose 2 out of 3, social, your sports or your physical or sports activity and your academics. Some people just seem to choose the 1 out of 3, and it can be gaming, but it's just quite an interesting thing to see how dedicated they are. And I guess that level of passion does carry quite a long way, and obviously in your case it seems to have done so. Yeah, just to transition then a bit more into FlyQuest, talking about FlyQuest in general. If you guys don't know, FlyQuest is like one of my favorite teams in the LCS because of how they present themselves as a team, and I'm sure in a lot of other cases, a lot of people think the same way. So I guess a deep dive into FlyQuest, maybe just talking about how you differentiate yourselves, talk a bit about those quest initiatives we discussed earlier. See how that kind of makes an impact on the world and the community overall.
Yeah. So when FlyQuest made it into franchising, we kind of set ourselves down and we kind of had to think about what is FlyQuest, right? I think when people think of FlyQuest, they're going to now think of all the charity initiatives, and they're going to think about the wholesome community. And they're going to think about, our league players. But for us as staff, and for everyone who's part of the FlyQuest community, we believe in showcasing greatness. And what that means is basically there's greatness in everyone, and there's not a lot of platforms to showcase all that greatness in terms of like skill or goodness or just like general good things. I think you can measure greatness in a lot of different ways, winning in a competition, for example, or having a talent and being able to showcase that. But to us, it's just like celebrating everything as a whole, anything that should be celebrated, anything that that's good, that's coming from an individual that might not necessarily have a platform. We want to elevate those people, and we've kind of taken Showcase Greatness and used our platform to elevate others, the players inside our org specifically through our content, right? Telling their stories, getting them to showcase their personalities. We showcase greatness with all the different charity initiatives that happen all around the world, right? I think you can kind of think of us, or a lot of people meme us for being the Earth team, the people who care about the planet. I haven't heard this one yet, but I'm sure people who are non-endemic to esports will probably call us tree huggers or something equivalent, right?
Yeah.
That's because there's a lot of awesome people here that are trying to keep making the world a better place. One tree planted, planting trees, where our supplies are desperately in need of. To our Coral Reef Alliance partnership, to now our FlyQuest initiative. All these things are ways to showcase the greatness that these people display without needing that everyday satisfaction of hearing "good job, you guys are doing great." It's just that self-driven drive to do what they love and care about, and those people are amazing. So for us, we do that, but we also do small things like Trisha's talk show, Just Happy, right? I'm sure you guys have seen it. Really awesome, spreading positivity and love when sometimes people might be in need of it. You can pop by just happy to have a great time. And Trisha really loves and cares the community. It's out of just genuine good intention, just like trying to get everyone to be happy. We have other initiatives as well that are more driven towards getting people together, like our Bear Quest Cup, right? I think our Bear Cups, that's what it's called. Sorry. And then our community game nights and everything. I think it's been really awesome. I forgot what the initial question was. I just started talking about what.
No, I think it kind of answers it. Like how you differentiate yourselves, and I feel like personally, you guys have been doing a really good job at that, because I guess a lot of teams tend to focus a lot more on competition. Poaching the best players, or like all of their content is dedicated to like how the team is performing, and how their lives revolve around the competition. But FlyQuest as a whole seems to be so much more holistic in understanding that they have this platform available to them, and they want to use that to spread positivity and showcase greatness, as you mentioned. And that's why I like you guys so much. But that was you basically answered the question. I also just wanted to know a bit about like that quest stuff, which you kind of talked about. The B quest one in particular. If you guys don't know, I think like you guys donate money like per like ocean dragon slain specifically, or like kills or wins from the FlyQuest team.
And the LCS in general, just from like every single game, we donate $10.
Yeah. So it's really awesome to see that kind of work come out. I guess also though, to be like, it is still a competition, and I guess we talked a bit about this already, but how big of a factor do you think like, performance is in developing a good brand? I know FlyQuest did really well last year. This year it's like building up slowly, and I know you guys have really good confidence in your team and the potential to be better. But how big of a factor do you guys see that as playing into developing FlyQuest as what it is?
So I think that in terms of how much competitive success matters for your marketing success, I think it definitely influences it. It definitely impacts it, but it shouldn't be the sole factor why your brand is failing. You can always have smarter acquisitions to get better, more eyeballs from different places onto your content. I think that you can always do a better job having a social media identity for people to identify with or to identify you as. I think that there are always ways to innovate the space, to set yourself apart, and not just as we compete in games. That's us. We are X name, right? I think a lot of different teams have done a really good job. For example, 100 Thieves, although they did have Nadeshot, who had a massive following before, they do a really good job with their all their apparel. It's always top notch. That's kind of like their another reason why people love them is because they're just super awesome, and they're really hip, and they're like every teenager's basically like go-to team or something like that, right? You have a team like TSM where it's just like prestige, big names and everything, and that works for them because they've been in the space for so long. You have C9, which has a really awesome social presence, and whatnot. And then for us specifically, I think we have struggled in the past with getting our marketing initiatives to get the ball rolling on them. In the recent 2 years, I would say that we've been doing a killer job just like having an identity and giving people a reason to cheer for FlyQuest outside of us winning a game or winning tournaments. And that's, to support us in our quest to join us in our quest to basically raise money for the Tree Quest initiative, for the B Quest initiative, for the C Quest initiative. Ways that, you can find out and be more educated about it. And here are ways that you can join our community to, support us in our games so that when we do have our games, you want to cheer for us to get kills or takedowns to get ocean drakes to spawn, and to just kind of gamify our contribution to these charitable organizations. And that just brings everyone together. And that also helps us kind of like drive the direction of where the org wants to go, right? I don't think any sports team has had floral jerseys outside of us, really. I can't really think of any. But when I first saw the jersey in 2020, when we were unveiling FlyQuest, it was really awesome because you just see them going on stage and you see the floral patterns and you don't really understand what it is. It looks great. It looks awesome. And then you actually understand what it means. It's our way of raising awareness and bringing eyes on our initiatives. And then from there, we worked with our partners, Riot Games, and our anyone else in the league to work together. Right? We had on social media banter back and forth between the teams. Hey, we just took down another ocean drake. Here you go, FlyQuest, or something like that.
Yeah.
It just becomes a really fun space because of that as well.
Yeah.
I think that on top of that, having a good identity helps bring people together. They know how the community should be. They know what to expect. For us, from my time as a community manager on FlyQuest, it was to have a really wholesome community that despite a loss, despite a rough loss, we want to make sure that everybody is being supportive and not being toxic, right?
Yeah.
I think when you look at the FlyQuest Discord, if you can find toxicity in there, would love to see it. But it's really hard to find. It's really hard to see people just like outright flaming other people or attacking other people. I think that's a very, very rare occurrence. And if had like a ban list that we had to look through, it'd probably just be spam bots or people who are trying to like disrupt the community.
Yeah, for sure. And I will make sure to, in any other material that I send out after this, link that Discord as well, because guys, like, if you go in, there's always like community stuff going on, especially if some of you are from the US and you stay in the US. There's a lot of NA focused events that are always happening, and yeah, like Jeffrey said, always so wholesome. And as so many people have mentioned, they love the message of FlyQuest so much, and I think that's just something that's going to, like, if you are true to that message and stick to that message, that's like, I mean, that's what you want to attract, right? And that message is only going to attract the correct fans for that brand, and I guess that's something to take on and understand, like, in a marketing sense as well. Yeah, for sure.
Weekly game nights, by the way, in the FlyQuest Discord server.
Yeah, if you guys are like also the EU friends, if you want to handle the I don't know, 120 ping, I don't know how much it is. Definitely hop on. And
it's outside of League. We play like Among Us and I forgot what it was called.
Scriblio,
like,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Scriblio, but team based, and you fight in teams or something like that. And then we also play like code names and stuff like that too. So it doesn't have to be just League. Ping doesn't have to be an issue.
Yeah, for sure. I know some people, definitely interested in those community games, and that's like, definitely a big way of bringing people together. And despite, the backstabbing and so on in Among Us, you still have a good laugh as a result of it. Yeah. I guess just on the last topic, because I'm conscious of time, perhaps we just want to talk a bit about like, your best tips or like, your best advice from transitioning from college or university into the industry, or like any sort of big things to watch out for or just understand, or something you might have wanted to know if you are back in our position, looking into the future.
Got it. So let me think. I think in terms of the best advice, make college is what you make of it. Right now you have time to think about what you want to do in the future. and how you want to proceed and on that path. And it might not be, I have a 6-step route to retirement at age 65. It might be, I only know the next step and I don't know where to go from there, but I'm going to take that step.
Yeah.
And one of the big things is, if you are constantly just saying college is a waste of time and you're not actively using your time in university to better yourself, be it through academics, through general, social studies or whatever general course. I forgot what it was called, but it's like your basic courses to get you to know about the general basics that you need to know in life, like math, physics, and biology, stuff like that. All that stuff comes in handy in the sense that you're going to be a lot more educated, and being educated, I think, is always a privilege. Now, if you can fully utilize that and utilize your time in the sense that you use all your professors as a resource, you use your fellow colleagues as a resource, you go out and meet new people that are local to your university that are just as driven as you to do bigger and better things, I think you will always have a chance to succeed in life and do a lot of really cool things. You might stumble and fail every now and then, depending on what you want to do and how well established the industry is. But if you're trying to be a trailblazer, at the very least, you need to use your time wisely. And so that's kind of like just broad feedback. I would say anyone who's here that's trying to learn about esports in general or listening to talks is doing a really good job already. We're going to have a lot more resources coming out, a lot of recorded resources, a lot of talks from these industry professionals that share a lot of knowledge. And if you're here watching, that's a great first step. The next step is to go out there and keep looking for additional resources, and to also not let yourself be blindsided by, by haste, right? You don't have to exactly go straight into esports. It might be better for you to just go into a regular 9-to-5 job and learn from these business professionals who have practices that are tried and true, right? 50 years of honing and refining, and then taking that and applying it to esports. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really value that much, and I think that's often overlooked. I think being able to project manage as a skill is really easily picked up and taught from these corporate jobs. And even if you don't like that place, you are still going to be growing as an individual. And if you can be thankful and use that time wisely to continue to elevate yourself, you can translate a lot of those skills into the esports industry. I think there are a lot of companies that are really young that don't have good managers, that lack that formal job experience, that often aren't able to fully utilize their team because they're making processes that they think are best, that they haven't really refined all that much.
For sure. Well, that's really awesome advice. I think also, I'm not sure if people are curious, but Jeffrey does apply his degree in his job very scientifically as well, in some sense. I don't know if you want to talk a tiny bit about that before we try and field some questions. Yeah.
Definitely. So cognitive science, just briefly, is a branch of psychology. So psychology came first because we weren't able to measure things inside of the brain. We were only able to observe and get qualitative feedback from the individuals, and then make theories based off that. But with cognitive science, we're able to measure the brain and better understand what happens. So because of that, we know a lot more about sleep cycles, and we know a lot more about the motor cortex and kind of our neural network. And so an interesting thing that I've been doing is kind of doing additional research through Google Scholar and reading up about different studies and like sports studies that utilize cognitive science to tell the players to build healthier habits, whether it be you want to make sure to get proper rest and make sure that it's uninterrupted because your REM cycles are going to be a lot longer, and it'll take you a lot less time to like get fully up to 100% versus if you wake up 3 times a night. And if you do wake up 3 times a night, you need to tell me so I can eliminate that because then we can get you back to 100% a lot faster. So the way that I utilize my degree is basically any way that I can get our players to 100%, be it cognitively, because league is a very cognitive sport. Yeah. You're using your brain at not 100%, but you're maximizing basically your brain for 5 hours a day for scrims and then an additional 6 hours for solo queue. Yeah. And then after that, you have like a best of 5, which kicks your adrenal system into overdrive, and then you're just like, oh yeah, and then like completely obliterated after the end of a best of 5. Like the players are like, they celebrate, and then after they're like, holy crap, I'm so tired, right? Like that was exhausting. And so another thing that I would like to learn is how does what is that science? Nutrition, basically the science of nutrition. Are ways to like really give players the fastest brain food and physical food. What's like the right blend of, should they take this in the morning? Should they not take this in the morning? What meal should I get them in the morning, right? Like I'm not going to get them burgers or ramen because that's really, right? We're basically not going to have a game 1 of our best of 5 if that's the case, because the players are just going to be asleep at their keyboard. Yep. But like stuff like that is all cognitive, all biological focused, and that's that you learn throughout college. It's something that I think a lot of people have a general idea of, and unless you like really do the research and apply it, isn't fully utilized. So stuff like that is always interesting, and there's a lot of really cool people in the space that do things really awesome. I can't name anyone really, but everyone manages their team different, right? Yep. For me, my job as team manager, just get the day-to-day operations to a point where the players can just focus on league and only worry about league, and to get their bodies in a place where they're practicing healthy habits and being able to continue improving without having to worry about being held back by physical constraints, right? Yeah. Some things that I can't help with that we look to medical professionals for, like carpal tunnel or dietary issues or pre-existing health issues that we ask players about before, so that we can mitigate any potential issues that hold up scrims that might affect you on stage, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think like just listening from that, it like, even if you think maybe this one's a bit more obvious that this degree does fit in some sense, if you think your degree doesn't fit within the esports space, I'm sure in some orientation or in some functionality there is an opportunity for you to work there, and apply your knowledge that you learned from university or college. As mentioned in the chat, like you shouldn't be wasting your time entirely. Try to make the most of it. Otherwise, I think it said wasted money. To make the most of that and then see where you can apply that. I guess if there's any questions, just conscious of time, we have just a few more minutes. I think there was one above from Angel from my school actually. How many people that work at FlyQuest had positions in gaming societies at college? Do you happen to know that?
So it's mainly just me. I think our graphic designer also participated, but not in a leadership position. At their Fiend basically worked at her local campus gaming club, participated in events and stuff like that. But to the degree that I did things where I went out and was in a leadership position, I think it's just me here. But we're all equally as invested. We all equally believe in much. And we work with a lot of people from like Twitch student to, get eyes on the stuff that we do and to also elevate what they do. Twitch is really awesome. I think you guys should take a look at them. They're doing really awesome things. And they also help elevate a ton of campuses. They basically are the people who are going to the university campuses and saying, hey, you need to put money into esports because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And they're the ones who are helping get them to, turn their face and bring their feet in the door for collegiate gaming to help support and bring monetary support to it. They've been doing a really killer job.
Yeah. And I guess a follow-up question on that is like, do people get the position and then love esports, or love esports and then find the role? I'm assuming it's the latter in most cases for such a nascent industry, but I don't know. What is your thought on that?
They love esports and then they get into I think it definitely is the passion for esports before, because I think it's hard to. For us here at FlyQuest, we're wholesome and everything, but we also have like a fire, right? We don't like losing against other people, and that comes at and that applies to our marketing initiatives. We're going to kick ourselves into gear to be the best org in X, Y, and Z, right? And if we fail, then we'll think about why it failed and then use that experience to be better next year. And because of that. Sorry, I forgot the original reason why I brought this up. Can you repeat the question?
Do most people get the position because and then love esports, or love esports and then find the position?
Right. And so I think being competitively driven already, for us to all succeed, right? You're going to have to consume esports and be a consumer to understand the product and to figure out how to ship that product. Yeah. Whether it be your merch, whether it be game nights, community game nights, whether it be a live event, or even competitive success, right? All of that drives on how much you consume esports, how much you look at others and compare how much you take the good from what they do and fix the bad things they do, and apply it to your org as a whole to learn from mistakes, be it 5, 6, 7 years ago, and not repeat the same mistakes, right? I think very often when we're in a meeting, when I was on the marketing team, we would bring up a point and then it would always be a counterpoint. Hey, but remember this specific example from 3 years ago? And it's like a hyper specific scenario, right? Yeah. Like it's this scenario that we want to avoid and we don't want to do. And so just be wary of that or be cognizant. And then somebody will be like, oh yeah, that's actually really crazy. I didn't know that. And that's because they have experience and they consumed a lot of, they were basically part of the community. They hear the community voice. And so it helps us better understand what's good and what's bad.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for that. And I guess one last question. I was going to read Sean's less serious question, but this one seems to be a bit more serious. Like, I guess I can rephrase it in a sense that graduating from, there's more questions coming in, but graduating from, university and then they go into a job, whether that be like consulting or your 9 to 5 or whatever. Where have you seen a lot of people transition from that into esports, and where do you find that transition to happen the most? Like at what level within the esports space?
I think that we can use Trisha as an example, our CEO. She worked at Azubu. She was a professional StarCraft 2 streamer, achieved a really awesome things. If you guys don't know, Megumi X Bear, she's really awesome. She's a pioneer in the esports space, and she's one of the first, real esports, female esports athletes. Really tried and true record. But she came from Azubu, where she managed partnerships there, and she learned a lot of. Basically, she worked in sales. And then after that, she came to FlyQuest as the COO, and then was later promoted to CEO. So that also answers a question here where, C-level execs or something seem to be founding members. that's I think that's the case for a lot of orgs with history in esports. But I think a lot of really good CEOs will have a lot of experience in a corporate environment because in the end, the esports team is going to be a business, and you're going to have to know the ins and outs of how the business world works in order to continue growing. And you don't have to necessarily bring all the bad with the business in org. I think that there are some things from the business world that you just can't avoid or will not be able to avoid bringing over to esports because in overall, everyone wants to make money, right?
Yeah.
And if we're able to bring in more money, we're able to do a lot more cool things, and we're able to keep elevating esports as a whole and bringing the communities together. The more we support the space as a community, the more we invest ourselves into these orgs, I think the more the orgs can give back to the community as well. So it's really not so much just we're looking for your guys' money to help us sustain ourselves, but rather so that we can continue growing to keep doing a lot of cool things in esports.
Yeah, for sure. There is one last question, but I suppose if you want to take it, do you think doctors or medical practitioners in the future could have a permanent role within an esports organization? I'm thinking yes. Yeah, for real.
I think definitely so. But in order to get there, we have to get to a point where esports is consumed and we're able to have facilities dedicated out to multiple teams where we have, in the sports space, you have dedicated facilities where the players train, and then you have those on-site sports therapists and
like
what is
the Cairo freeze baths, man. That's what I'm thinking about.
Definitely the Kairos, right?
Yeah.
But in order for us to get there, we need to have enough demand, and we have to have enough leagues and established orgs to get to that place.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a long while, but it's definitely able to be a reality.
Yeah.
It just depends on whether or not we can fill football stadium or just giant venues week to week in different cities.
For real.
Not in different cities, but just do we have enough athletes to justify the cost? And if not, then we'll just contract them out, because not only I think it's not so much that we don't believe in it, and we don't believe it's a good idea and we don't want it, because believe me, I want our own in-house
physio or something like that. Yeah.
But contracting them out is much smarter and much more responsible with the amount of money being put into us from the community, from our investors. And if it achieves just about the same level, then we can wait until we get to that space.
Yeah.
That comes from things, right? Do you need your own facility? It would be nice. We really want it, but
it's not. Not 100% there yet. But I think that's a really good point to end on, actually, because it's very forward looking, and I guess we just have to be much more excited about what's to come. And I'm sure there's a lot more of that to be considerate of, and all of that investment flowing in and everything. It looks as if we'll not, like you mentioned, not soon, but it seems like we'll be getting there at some point in our lives, at least. But yeah, I just wanted to say a really big thank you for Jeffrey and all of the questions and chat for coming through and just talking with us and listening. Hopefully you guys found that really insightful. But yeah, big thanks to Jeffrey for taking his time out of his busy day to do this for us and talk to us and gain insight into the American side, but hopefully very applicable to what is a developing UK scene. But that's been the end of our conversation. And yeah, Jeffrey, if you have any last words just to say, we can end there.
Oh, follow, subscribe, FlyQuest on YouTube, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
You can just plug all you want. We love that brand so much. Well, I do, and I'm hosting.
If you guys want to support FlyQuest, I think the best ways to do so is to look into our charity initiatives. To start your own MeQuest. MeQuest is a really awesome initiative that we started this year. Voy Boy has his own videos. He has his own Me Quest. He does every single week where he chooses 3 different things that he wants to work on, and he shares it with the community. I think we have a contest going. Oh, sorry. I think we have a contest going out. But basically, what Me Quest is we want you guys to choose 3 things out of 7 different categories, put together a combination of it, and just use it to make yourself feel better, to elevate yourself, to put yourself in a good place where you're happy and ready to go and tackle the day. For example, like physical fitness, go out and walk for 30 minutes, and then mental health, right? Buy yourself something nice. Put money aside and spend like $50 to buy something. I just bought myself new Valve Index controllers so that I could play my VR setup with finger tracking. Really awesome. Makes me feel good. And then like the last thing could be something as easy as meditate for 30 minutes. And then that's your Me Quest for the week. You share it, you see everyone else's Me Quest, you see everyone else's progress, and then you continue the same thing next week. It's something that we together can use to motivate ourselves, where motivation can kind of feel a lot hard to come by during these pandemic times where you're holed up in your house and your environment. It helps. I think it'll help a lot of people just like find a little bit of motivation to change it up, because if you change up your life every single day, just little by little, you see new things. It just makes every day a little bit easier to wake up to.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully you guys will join FlyQuest as well on some Me Quest. Me too. That's some good motivation. But really appreciate it, like I mentioned, and hope you guys had a great time listening to this talk. If you missed parts of it, the VOD will be up. Will be uploaded onto our YouTube and exported into a podcast format, so you guys can listen to it as you play your League of Legends games, perhaps. But yeah, thanks so much for coming along. And yeah, really appreciated the talk, and I had a really good time learning a lot about FlyQuest, your experience, and so on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and also there was some comments. People loved your hair, by the way. Yeah. And someone said, I think you look like an anime character somewhere in the chat. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I appreciated it, and we'll see you guys hopefully very soon for another talk. Bye.
Bye.